recently I bought myself something new. I bought myself a drawing tablet, and this isn't just any drawing tablet. This is a 1x Wacom Small, otherwise known as a Wacom CTL 472. Now, there's also a slightly bigger version of this known as the 1x Wacom Medium, which you can also find as the CTL 672. Now, this isn't to be confused with the Wacom One. Wacom, for some reason, decided to make two devices with almost the exact same name. So the 1x Wacom, this guy right here, this is a drawing tablet. The Wacom One is a creative display, basically a touchscreen display with a pen. While I've certainly used other drawing tablets in the past here and there, this is the first one I've actually owned myself. Now, you might be wondering, Brody, why in the world did you buy a drawing tablet? What purpose could you possibly have for that? So there are two main reasons why I bought this. The first reason is I want to start getting into digital art. I don't think I've talked about this on the channel, but I do enjoy just sitting down for a couple of hours and just drawing some stuff. I'm not good at drawing, but I enjoy it nonetheless. And I want to start getting better at it because I have the RuneScape skiller approach to handling my channel. While I could go into Fiverr and pay someone to do some art, instead of doing that, why don't I do the art myself? Sure, it's going to take a while, and sure, I'm not going to be very good at it for a very long time, but I don't have to explain hey, this is the emote that I want to make. This is the face that I want it to have. Instead of doing that, I know how I want it to look, so I'm just going to learn to make it myself. Plus, it'll be a bit of fun. Speaking of fun, though, the other reason why I'm buying this is I recently got back into Osu. If you don't know what that is, basically, it is a community-driven rhythm game. And back when I played it 5 or so years ago, I was a mouse player, and I've always wanted to try out playing the game with a tablet. So, hey, if I want to start doing drawing anyway, this is just another reason for the tablet. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to be doing things like editing my thumbnails with the tablet as well. It just makes doing things like erasing considerably easier, and there's a bunch of other little use cases here and there as well. And today, I just want to give my thoughts on the tablet. Now, even though I've been using this for about a week, because I don't have much experience with other tablets, treat this as, I guess, the review of a complete noob who saw other people's reviews and is judging whether this thing actually lives up to the hype. The first thing is with this pen, and this pen feels really, really good. So here's just a random Vivaldi pen I have sitting around, and there is a noticeable weight difference. This pen is a little bit heavier, but when I say heavier, I mean we're talking in terms of grams. So this pen is 9 grams, which, while being heavier than this pen, is perfectly within the acceptable range of a weight for a pen. If you go and buy a really well-made metal pen, something you're supposed to keep your entire life, a lot of them will be heavier than something like this. Now, some people don't like how light this pen is. I want my pen to feel like a pen. In that regard, comparing it to this pen I have right here, it is a little bit thinner, but this pen is on the wider side compared to a lot of other pens, but I find it perfectly comfortable for my hand. But for a pen for long sessions of usage, what I find more important than the actual weight is how well it is balanced. Generally, with something like a pen, you want the balance point to be somewhere around the center. If it's too far forward, then you're going to start messing up what you're writing. If it's too far back, you're going to actually have trouble holding it in your writing position. But this, I don't have anything to say about. It's exactly how a pen should feel. And I think part of that is the fact that this is a pen that does not have a battery. So I can use this literally for 48 hours, no problems whatsoever. Besides the fact that I want to sleep, I don't need to ever replace a battery with this thing. That's enough praising the pen, but I do have some minor issues. So, firstly, it's using micro USB. We can talk about micro USB all day. It's fine, I guess, but, you probably should be using USB-C. The other problem with this is the fact that it is on the left side of my desk. I know it is mirrored for you guys, but it's on the left side of my desk. And my computer is on the right side. So when I'm using this, what I have to do basically is run the cable either behind it or in front of it to over where my computer actually is. It's not a big deal, but I would prefer to not have cables running where I'm trying to be working. Now, this can be addressed by flipping it inside of the drivers, which I probably should just start doing so. It's just that if I ever forget to flip the tablet, then I have this cable just being in my way. It's more of just a minor annoyance than something that's actually that big of a deal. Honestly, I don't know where you could put it that makes it perfect for every user. Unless you were to put like a port on every single side, someone is going to complain about this problem. Now, this pen has two little buttons on the side, which I don't know if you'll actually be able to see. But basically, if I tap down on the tablet, that is basically a mouse 1 press, the first button is a mouse 2 press, and the second button is a mouse 3 press. Very sensible bindings. I don't have anything to complain about there. The button placement, I have no problem with either. It sits directly where my thumb is going to sit. The one issue I do have with this, though, is I find the buttons are a little bit too easy to accidentally press. When I use this, I have to rotate the pen to make sure the buttons are facing away from my thumb. Otherwise, I'm accidentally going to keep pressing mouse 2 and moving my canvas around. Also, the back is red. I don't care what color the back is. It's, on my desk. I don't see it. The reason why I'm mentioning the back, though, is because each of these corners here have a little rubber foot on them. Now, these do stop it from sliding around like as if it was just plastic on my desk. But they don't stop it sliding completely, so if I put it down on my desk and like put some force on it and try to move it, it still does move a little bit. So in the case of drawing, it's not really that big of a deal, but if you use a fairly large space in something like Osu, you might notice it moving and it might sort of interfere with how you're playing. I guess you could tape it to your desk to stop it moving. It's not that big of a deal, and actually getting used to it is fine. It's not like it's going to just slide away completely, but it is something to definitely mention. Also, because I'm a moron, when I bought this, I didn't realize this little tag on the side here is actually a pen holder. I just had my pen floating around for a couple of days, but yeah, that's what it's supposed to be used for. It probably says this like in the instruction manual, but who reads the instruction manual for a tablet? And because Wacom knows you're going to need this, it also comes with this little packet right here. Basically, a couple of replacement pen nibs. There is 3 of them in here, along with a replacement tool. Basically, the idea is you use the tool, you clamp onto the pen nib, and you can pull it out. And then you put your new one in there, you're good to go then. They're not difficult to replace, takes like 2 seconds to do so, and you can get them pretty cheap online anyway. So if we go to Amazon, let's go over to this one. $10 for 10 of them, $11, $12 for 20 of them. And because this is a fairly popular tablet, along with Wacom doing something sensible and using the exact same pen nibs for a lot of their other devices, you can find them very easily, and I expect them to keep using this style years into the future. Now, you are going to need to buy replacements. Obviously, at some point the pen nib will wear down normally. If you're, rubbing plastic against plastic, there will be damage that does happen. But I've seen other people report this online as well, and I've started to notice it myself. This has a fairly rough surface, and pen nibs wear down quite quickly on it. So I've seen some fairly high-level Osu players wear down a pen nib in a single day. I don't use it at such a heavy level. I've got a little bit of damage on there, nothing too extreme so far. I reckon in my case, they'll maybe last like 3-4 months probably per pen nib, but depending on how much you use it, you are going to actually need to buy replacements. Luckily though, you can go and change the tablet surface to be something a little bit smoother by going and buying a tablet cover. So right now, I've got one on order from a group called Foxbox. This is basically a single person running this, so obviously expect shipping to maybe take a while, also because worldwide shipping is just generally taking a while right now, but they do basically custom printed tablet covers. You can get anything you want printed. They're not that expensive either, so I recommend just buying one. There are certainly other cheaper tablets I could have gotten. Not to say this is that expensive, but there are like $40 tablets that would do everything that I would want them to do. The reason why I bought this tablet specifically is because I know that Wacom actually has drivers under Linux. Not just drivers that happen to be maintained by like one dude. It was a community project that Wacom decided to actually properly support and now has 3 Wacom developers actually working on it. And because this is a well-maintained set of drivers, it works really, really, really well. I can't speak for every application out there, but if I'm just using Krita, for example, I plug this in and it works. Literally don't have to do anything else. Now, for some other applications like GIMP, you might have to go and enable it in the settings, but Krita is the only thing I actually care about, and it just works. For non-Wacom tablets, you're going to be using the Digimen drivers. They apparently work well as well. The problem with those, though, is it's not entirely clear which tablets are going to be supported, so it's more of like check forum post, trial and error sort of thing. I just wanted something I knew was going to work, and I knew this was going to work. And if you're an OSU player like I am, and you're playing with OSU Laser, obviously, this is supported in open tablet drivers. If you're playing OSU Stable on Windows and you're using the Hoku drivers like you probably should be, also obviously supported. No problems whatsoever with configuration, just plug and play and you're good to go. Also, speaking of OSU, this doesn't have pen smoothing at the hardware level, so any like tiny little movement you make is going to be registered by the tablet. The advantage of not having tablets moving at the hardware level is if you like it, you can enable it in the drivers. If you don't like it, well, you don't have to have it. If it is there at the hardware level, there's simply no way to get rid of it. As someone with very limited experience with the tablets, I can say the week or so I've been using this, I have fallen in love with this tablet. And I didn't mention the price yet. That's because it's not that expensive. So it's $80 in Australia. I think that would put it in like the $50 or $60 in the US. If you're looking for a cheap drawing tablet, as someone who doesn't have experience with other drawing tablets, I can say this thing feels great to use. Maybe you want to watch someone who actually, has experience with other tablets before you make a decision. But if you just want someone to be happy with what they bought, I'm certainly happy with what I bought. And expect to see some videos on the Linux drivers coming up very soon, along with some other stuff I've got planned. That includes both the Wacom drivers and the Open Tablet drivers. So that's going to be pretty much everything for me, and if you like this video and you want to support the channel, become one of these amazing people over here, please go check out my Patreon subscribe style LiberaPay, linked in the description down below. I've got a podcast called Tech Over Tea, available basically anywhere. I've got a gaming channel called Brody Robertson Plays, where I live stream twice a week, upload about 5 or so YouTube shorts, and this channel is also available over on Odyssey. That's going to be it for me, and I'm out.